Okay, so now we're going to do an example, and to do that example we need Google Cloud Storage. And so that means I need to share with you a private key. I have created in here this link using our self-destruct tool. So if you go to that link, let me make it blue for you. So if you go to that link, you should see a message. That message should be a JSON blob. Okay.
Go now, you got 30 seconds.
No, I set it for 30 minutes. I changed the timeout. And it'll have, I forget what's in it, but it's like private something. And I want you to save this, copy and paste it into a file, to a JSON file, okay? Maybe put it on your desktop and call it, gcs.json. So. Everybody working? Does that work for everybody? Because we're going to use those credentials to access Google Cloud Storage. Did that work, everybody? Everybody's able to save that file?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
You don't want this file put onto GitHub.
No, but it doesn't matter. This gives you access to the bucket inside of here. So the way I did that was I went here and I said create new client ID. That generated the JSON key. And that's how you can use this this account to access the bucket. So the bucket's down here. It's this bucket. Okay? Now this is different than the process we talked about last time. The process we talked about last time involved generating your P12, converting that to a PEM, adding a bunch of options to the development app server, and using it that way. This one, we're going to use the JSON file, okay? And the JSON file has a slightly different flow for accessing Google Cloud Storage. Okay, so if everybody has that, the project we're going to do is we're going to build a basic file browser. So the idea here is that I want an application which you can access a GCS bucket, so the user will enter the bucket they want to access, and this JSON file, okay, that we just copied. So they'll have bucket name as an input, and then a text area where they can plop, or a file upload where they can plop their JSON file. And it will then show them kind of what you see on the console, right? It'll have a place where you can upload a file, the links listed, you can download, and we'll list the directories, okay? And we're going to build this out. But we need this in order to do it, okay? So, to get started, make a new folder in week 4, day 1, and call it file browser. And then inside of file browser, make a new app.yaml file. Okay. And inside the app.yaml, you'll have application, and then this you get from the project. So if you go to console.developers.google.com and list your projects, you can get the project ID right here. So mine's called the StudCurve 100.822. And so we'll put that there. And if we look at previous app.yamls, we'll see it needs a version. So this is version 1. And then runtime and API version. So runtime is Go. And the API version is Go 1. And then down here we have our handlers. And a dash. And then URL. And then this is slash stub, vice versa. Then you say script underscore go app. Okay? So that's, now your project ID will be different, right? It'll be not this one, but some other one. Though that actually doesn't matter so much because we're probably not going to deploy it. But just do that, and then version, runtime, API version, and then the handlers, okay? And that will be how we create this app. That's the first step. Everybody got that? Okay, so what I'm envisioning for this app to start with, as far as the view from the user's perspective, is there'll be a slash. Okay, so if you go to slash, this will be a page that has and then it'll have credentials. And then that'll be a text area where they'll pop in their JSON, whatever's in that JSON block. And then down here, a submit. Okay. So that's the first URL, the root will take you there. The second URL is once you've submitted that, you'll have, we'll call it browse. So that's this one. And so browse will look something like, it'll have, bucket, and up here will be the bucket they put in. And then you'll list the folders and files. So you'll have f1.txt, f2, and so on. You'll also have the folder names. So you would have like folder. Okay. And what happens is if you click f1.txt, it downloads it. So any files inside the bucket, you'll download. But if you click the folder, then it will go to the folder page. So this would be, for example, /browse/folder. Okay, so if you click folder here, you go to /browse/folder, you'll see the same thing, right? You'll have f3.txt and so on. And then if there's another folder, what's called subfolder, then it'll go to /browse/folder subfolder. Okay, and so on. It'll keep appending onto the URL. Does that make sense?
I thought we could only have one bucket in Google Cloud Storage.
No, we can have as many buckets as we want.
We've got 3.
Oh, one free.
So here I'm letting the user add their bucket. And by giving them, by them uploading their credentials, we can access any bucket. Because the credentials contain the service account needed to access a bucket. So this way we can give it any random bucket. Now in our case, we're just going to use the one bucket. I'm using this Hello World app bucket. Okay, so you have browse, and that browse can have subfolders. And then at the bottom of this is a form that has a file input. And you click that, and then there's a submit. And if you click submit and you've chosen a file, it will upload it into the current whatever you're looking at. So if I'm in browse/folder, it put it in here. If I'm in subfolder, it put it in there. If I'm at the root, then it's going to put it at the root of the bucket. Okay? So this form appears at the bottom of every page. And that should be sufficient to make a file explorer, a very basic file explorer. Okay? And that's what we want to build. So the first step here is I want you guys to create a routes go that does the routing for these options, and just and then set up some basic templates. Okay, so don't hook up the actually doing the upload. Just these sort of 2 or 3 pages, however you think about it, just to see what they look like. Okay, just the templates.
Cool. And you want us to use, because that'd be one of my questions, should I use templates or not? You want us to use templates?
templates make things easier. You don't have to use
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just where we're going to start. And then when you finish that, then I'll plug that in and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, but I just want to see routes and some templates. Okay, and the templates don't have to be beautiful, just basic HTML.